Guys, hope you're well. It's a reasonably nice Monday morning here in Cape Town, just after 7. Guys, I wanted to share a very short story with you. This weekend I got a tweet from a guy who goes by the name of Rhythm. I love his tweets, and his tweet went something along the lines of you will have insurance for your house, for your car, your medical needs, and maybe even your pet, but you don't have any insurance against government failure or bankruptcy. And he was talking about Bitcoin as being monetary insurance. Now, I read this and my immediate response back to him was, wow man, that's really well said. I guess it's because most people don't think about governments failing and therefore needing insurance against government failure. And it's true. After I read that tweet of his, I thought back to about a conversation I had about a year ago with a friend of mine called Rian. Rian is an accomplished actuary, was in management consulting. He's a head of digital for a big financial services company here in South Africa. And, he was asking about the value of cryptocurrency. He believes in the blockchain. Yeah. But he does not understand the problem that cryptocurrency solves. So I thought, okay, fine, let's write an article for the guy, explain it in detail. Wrote a detailed article, published it on Medium, and I sent him a message afterwards asking him, so what did he think? Did I clarify things for him? And his response was, look, I still think the blockchain really has tremendous value, but I don't understand what problem crypto is trying to solve. Whew, and I went off at him, right? Because I took a lot of time to write this article for him to explain things in detail. And people who know me know that I can get into a lot of detail when it comes to this stuff. And he was like, can you just give me the one-liner, the elevator pitch, like the management consultants like to say? So I said, okay, fine. Well, the one-liner is Bitcoin is a monetary and payment system that allows you to transact with anyone, anywhere in the world without the need for a bank, central banks, correspondent banks, Swift network, card operator, you name it, right? It's direct peer-to-peer and no one can interfere with it. And his response was, well, why is that a good thing? Well, at first I had like steam coming out of my ears, but it dawned on me he does not understand that actually there's a problem. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about this morning, that if you don't understand the real problem at hand, you're not going to see the relevance of Bitcoin, right? So here it is in a nutshell. With normal money, as you are used to today, you're not in control, right? Let's talk about sending your money offshore. In many countries, not all, but in many countries, there are limitations with regards to how much of your money you can convert into a foreign currency per year, right? And that is there. It's legally in place. These are regulatory limits that you have to abide by. And while you may not think that's a problem, unless you're in a Venezuela, a Turkey, or a Zimbabwe, yeah, that's going to be fine. But if I, for example, want to take my money and convert it into, for example, Australian dollars or whichever currency I prefer, because I know that the South African rand is going to tank because our lovely government keeps on bailing out state-owned enterprises like South African Airways and Eskom, I want to be able to take as much of my wealth as is possible offshore. But no, the regulations are such that your money needs to be, or rather as much of your money needs to be, locked in the domestic finance system. And this is because the way financial systems in countries are set up is that your wealth, our wealth, taxpayers like us, savers like us, our wealth is basically going through the financial and monetary system to go towards paying off government debt. And again, guys, go and look up something called financial repression. There's a lot of detail from it. You can get the information from the Bureau for Economic Research, the International Monetary Fund. You can find the info, right? In the era of financial repression, regulatory limits were put in place in terms of how much money you could take offshore, because governments wanted to ensure that as much of the money as is possible stays inside this captive market. And in effect, it basically, tries to, it actually does liquidate some of the government debt. In the old days, there were legal limits with regards to how much interest a bank was able to give you back on your bank accounts, right? And there were regulations with regards to how much you could invest in commodities like gold or silver. This was because the aim was that as much of your money needs to be kept inside a system that always goes through towards continuously liquidating government debt. Now, I certainly think that that is a problem. With Bitcoin, you do not have this problem. With Bitcoin, there are no borders. There are no legal jurisdictions. Bitcoin is already a global currency, chaps. And so therefore, with something like Bitcoin, and forget about the Bitcoin technology, which we'll still talk about in future, you now have the ability to send as much of your wealth anywhere without fear of government retaliation, or not even being worried about circumventing forex regulations, because what you're doing is a Bitcoin transaction, not a forex transaction. So there are lots of problems that Bitcoin addresses. With normal currency, governments have the ability to shut down your accounts. They have the ability to put in place these kinds of rules. There are these macro-prudential regulations which are supposed to maintain the systemic stability of the financial system, and some of those regulations will be, there's only so much money of your pension fund that can go offshore, but they will not have any limit with regards to how many government bonds your pension fund managers can invest in. Anyway, guys, I suspect this video is getting a little bit long again. It's a bit bright, I can't quite see, but look, chaps, happy Monday morning. We'll talk a lot more about this Bitcoin stuff in future. Let us know, chat to us, and let us know what you'd like to hear. Have a good one. Bye.